You're listening to Ask Dr. Jake. My name is Dr. Jake Tucker. I'm the owner and founder here at Good Life Family Chiropractic on the south side of Lincoln. And we're coming to you today with another message of health, hope, and healing. And, I had a great conversation on the phone yesterday with a prospective new patient who's here in Lincoln. And she's actually a nurse doing it in-home nursing right now. And just, kind of going through the ringer with all this stuff, just challenging her values, being told that a virus is far more powerful or potent than the immune system that God created, that her going out into an environment where people might not potentially be wearing masks is one of the most dangerous things that she can do for her mom. And she was calling me just to talk because in our office, while we are following the DHM and social distancing, we don't enforce the DHM. We believe strongly that everyone has health freedom and that no mayor, no governor, no president can overcome our constitutional right to express our health freedom. And so she was just questioning to herself where she should be, because her employer is saying one thing, and then we're here telling people that we are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that his power is made perfect in our weakness, and that he can overcome anything. Jesus said in John at the end of the book, in this world you will have trouble, but fear not, for I have overcome the world. And so we just talked for a minute, and I said, I very much respect where you're at, because I was there 10 years ago. I grew up in a culture that was very medical minded, that my parents and my grandparents and my neighbors' parents, they all taught me to fear germs and fear bacteria and fear viruses. And I never learned the respect for God and God's creation, in that he put germs and viruses and bacteria for us, not against us. And that germs and viruses and bacteria, that they're not the ones that make us sick, but they expose the life choices that we make that bring about either health and wellness or sickness and disease, and ultimately an early death. And you can see this across the United States right now, that as a culture, we are responding so poorly to this exposure to the virus. And I don't care about positive tests right now, because all of us are going to be exposed. Every single person. You ask any medical doctor who knows a lick about virology, and you know that there is no hiding from this virus. Even if we develop a vaccine, even when we develop a vaccine, it took 20 years for chickenpox vaccine to be developed. And we were trying for that entire time, and we're trying to rush out this vaccine. But even when we know that there are going to be certain people that respond well, and that there's certain people that are going to respond poorly. And it has nothing to do with the vaccine itself, and everything to do with the health of the person who is exposed. It has nothing to do with the virus, and has everything to do with the health of the person who is exposed. And so we just, I didn't really hash it out. My goal on the conversation was never to convince her of anything, other than just now is the time where it is most important that we be investing in our health. In fact, if you are at most at risk, let's say you're 95, you're obese, you have cardiovascular disease, an autoimmune condition, diabetes, all of the things that we know are the biggest risk factors for you dying from a coronavirus infection. If you were to have those things, I would not recommend that you wear a mask. I would recommend that you invest in a hazmat suit. I would recommend that while you're investing in a hazmat suit, you also invest in a home fitness program. You would also invest in a chiropractic membership to someone who's going to come to your house and adjust your spine every single day. I would suggest that you invest in fully organic, locally sourced, clean food where you actually know the farmer and know what's going on. I would also invest in a membership at a clinic that does regular blood testing, not for cholesterol and not for your blood pressure and not for even necessarily anything that we put out there, but looking at your metabolic markers to see where your susceptibilities lie, and then invest in a plan, whether it's with supplements and adjustments and exercises or whatever it is that actually helps to rebuild those processes so that you become healthy. Because what we're doing right now is we're paying for the consequences of our lifestyle choices. That's what we're going through in this country right now. And it's not a matter of you being stuck in that. I had a young lady just yesterday tell me that at 40 years old, her spine was too stuck to correct. Never mind that I'm sitting here with 80 and 90-year-olds with scoliosis that have dropped by over 10 degrees because of the work that they're willing to put in. She thinks that she's too stuck because her scoliosis has been there for too long. Never mind that her scoliosis is still just a grade 1, that a medical doctor would call this a mild scoliosis, and that we've fully corrected mild scoliosis in our office in people that are 20 years older than her. Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. That's what Henry Ford said. If you believe that you can accomplish and overcome and get healthy, if you believe that you can go out and you can create a successful career for yourself, if you believe that you can turn your life around depending on Christ and let him transform you from the inside out, you're right. But if you don't believe those things, you're also right. Your belief matters most in anything. And I know that we just went through this election and people are feeling super strong one way or the other. And let me tell you, I don't put my hope in any candidate in their policies for my success or my failure. They are not in control of my destiny. God gave me free will, a good head on my shoulders, and the opportunities to grow myself, to either become successful or to become unsuccessful. Now, some people are born into situations where they have less of those opportunities, but the stories that we put these people up on pedestals for, where we celebrate, where we turn them into Hollywood movies, those are the ones where the underdog actually did pull himself up by his bootstraps, took the opportunities that were given to him by the grace of God, and he was able to overcome. That she was able to stand on a pile of defeats and mishaps and say, I have overcome by the grace of God and the opportunities that he gave me. And that's what we do here in our office. This young lady that came through our office, she's dealing with a torn L5 disc. That disc had been bulging for so long that literally the liquid inside started to push against the fibers on the outside of the disc and tore through. And she is having debilitating pain. It is creating sciatica. It is creating digestive issues. She's having headaches with this. And for years, she's been stuck in this model where all we do is focus on symptoms. And maybe you're in the same place. Maybe nobody's ever sat down with you and walked back through what is causing your disruption, what is causing the back pain that you're experiencing, or the neck pain that you're experiencing, or the digestive issues, and walked out a plan to actually not just reverse those symptoms that you're experiencing, but start to reverse the causes of those symptoms. In her case, it was that she waited, first off, over 20 years to start doing anything about her spine. By that time, she already had the grade 1 scoliosis. She already had a reverse curve in her neck. Then she started with the pain treatment options. She started taking medication. She didn't like the medication, but over the last 20 years, she's filled annually 12 different prescriptions to corticosteroids to inhibit her immune system from reacting to the bulge in her low back, to inhibit her immune system from creating a pain response that makes it more comfortable for her to live and work. And I would love for her to get out of pain. And I'm not going to tell her to stop taking her pain medication, but I will tell her the same thing I'll tell you. If all you do is continue to take your medication and you don't change those lifestyle factors that created the condition to begin with, it doesn't matter a lick how much of that you take, you are continuing to get less and less healthy. It's a matter of fact. If we do not change the conditions in which our body created a sickness and disease, then you will continue to build that sickness and disease no matter how much the symptoms go away. And I don't care if you cut out the cancer. I don't care if you cut out and remove the plaque from the arteries. If you don't change the conditions in which those things grow, they will return, and they will return with a vengeance. Jesus spoke on this when it was related to casting out demons. He said, if you do not clean up the house and invite someone else in to take up residency, that demon will return with friends and will be there even stronger, and it will be much more difficult to get them out. Think of your health in that same light. If you continue to live that same lifestyle, and even if you reverse the symptoms and diagnosis with medication and covering up the symptoms, masking it with drugs, masking it with maybe a change in surgery or a change of environment, but you don't change the conditions in which that condition grew, the way you're eating, the way you're living, the lack of spinal care, the lack of proper neurological care, then that condition will return with a vengeance. And I don't want that for any of you. Our country is sick and dying right now. But if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, pick up the phone right now. Call my office, 531-289-7100. We're standing by to take your phone call and help you get it set up for what could be a life-transforming visit to our office. We'll start off and we'll just start with that assessment. We'll look at your spine. We'll look at its posture. We'll look at its range of motion. We'll look to see if there's any interference in the nervous system. We'll do a digital nerve scan, actually measuring and seeing the electrical currents that are running through your spine and if they're being impeded at all. And then from there, we'll decide how many x-rays we need of your spine to see where the disruption is coming from. What are those postural deformities that are actually putting in anatomical and physiological pressure on your nervous system? And from there, we'll see how you respond to an adjustment. That visit would typically cost you over $200 in our office, but today we are giving it away to the first 5 callers for just $95. $95 for all those things. If you were to go to a medical clinic and have this assessed, it would cost you thousands of dollars to do the level of testing that we're doing here in our office. And that doesn't even include the adjustment, which no medical doctor is licensed to do. No medical doctor is licensed to remove the subluxation from the spine like we do here in this office. And less than 1% of chiropractors in the world do what we do from a spinal level here at Good Life Family Chiropractic. We are the top 1% of the 1% in doing structural correction. Your assessment here is similar to a neurosurgeon's assessment in how well we're looking at the spine, but more importantly, we're doing everything correctively and far, far more affordably. And so if you're looking to get well, let's start here. Pick up the phone, call our office, 531-289-7100. My staff, my team, we're standing by to take your phone call and talk you through what that first visit is going to look like for you, get that set up specifically for this next week, and get you into the office to get that healing process started. You have a great day. I'll talk to you again on Monday for another episode of Ask Dr. Jake.